දසනකාන්තී චූර්ණය සහිත ලීවර් ආයිෂ් දන්තාලේපය දත්වල ඇති ප්‍රශ්න 10ක් වලකයි.
An event-themed strategies and actions to accelerate Sri Lanka's transition to a green growth pathway, organised by the Ministry of Environment and the Global Green Institute, was held in Colombo last evening under the patronage of former UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon, who arrived in Sri Lanka for a 2-day visit yesterday, and President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Sri Lanka is in the process to decrease carbon emissions by 14.5% by 2030 and more thereafter. We are creating the Climate Change Office operating under the President's Secretariat to coordinate all action in regard to climate change. Then we have prepared a natural adaptation plan, the National Environment Action Plan. All of this is being taken as initiative by our government so that we ensure a green economy and a better world by 2050. We are developing the Net Zero 2050 plan that aims for carbon neutrality. We will not increase further energy capacity via coal power. There are many initiatives that we will be taking for this period. Firstly, I'll bring a legislation for a new Climate Change Act, which will incorporate the Climate Change Office. New Environment Act to replace the old one, which was enacted in the early 1980s, and one which will cover reforestation, forest cover and tree cover, which is also essential. The last one is, I think, historic for our area, that we want to recognize some of our assets as living entities. So the Knuckles Range, the Horton Plains, the Peak Wilderness, the Singharaja, Mahavalley River and Adams Bridge would be recognized as living entities. We will be the first in the region to do so. And finally, the International Climate Change University. We want to start here as a postgraduate university and a university for training officials in all our regions, in the Indian Ocean, in the Africas, to prepare the world for meeting the climate change goals and a new green economy. But we are going to face difficulties. One is the lack of capacity, and we also need greater access to international financing. Then to use the green vision also, be able to financially engineer the debt, the reduction of Sri Lanka's debt by using the green financial instruments so that we could reduce the present debt load.
I understand the government's first priority is reaching an agreement with the International Monetary Fund. GGGI believes Sri Lanka should consider opportunities for further debt reduction with a debt for nature and for a debt for climate swap. If successfully arranged, such transactions can reduce sovereign debt as well as bring much needed resources to conservation and climate action. While this needs to be explored and developed, early assessments indicate that the potential can be as large as 300 to 500 million US dollars. In addition, once the IMF agreement is in place, the Sri Lankan banks can contribute to financing the green transition by issuing green bonds, an opportunity that can also generate hundreds of billions of dollars from the international capital market. GGGI is ready to use its experience to help structure a debt for nature and or a debt for climate swap, as it is currently doing in Ecuador. With Sri Lanka's special circumstances, this may be the one of the most important contributions from the GGGI. GGGI is already in discussions with several private banks in Sri Lanka to support the process to issue green bonds as soon as the country's financial conditions allow.